Hello, class, and welcome to week 4. This week, you have an interesting case study that you're going to analyze. And the reason why I call it interesting is because it deals with a couple. Now, as you might recall from your residency, sitting across from another individual and being present, but also remembering to use your micro skills, etc., a lot of this stuff can be very overwhelming when you're first starting out. Well, just couple that with another individual. And so this is why some people have hesitations or reservations about doing couples counseling, group counseling, or family counseling. But you get a lot of information when you are doing couples counseling. And so you have a case analysis this week of Daryl and Samar and their relationship. And also, what you're going to throw into the mix is analyzing the cultural dynamics that are at play. And so it's a wonderful opportunity for you to integrate a lot of the resources that we are learning in this term. So what I want to say about that too is that, a lot of times this course is very challenging for people. And I find that it is challenging because it's content that might be presented to you that is different or contrary or just presented in a way that you've never thought about it before. So for example, sometimes students ask, why do I have to take this class? And I always, counter that with, it's important to be able to understand ourselves, especially as we're going to be working with other people. It's important to know our biases. It's important to understand the importance of culture and worldview of others. And so hopefully, as you're going through the course, if you find yourself reacting to something or if it's sitting with you in a way that has you sort of feeling I won't say defensive, but has you feeling something, I would encourage you to sit with that emotion and really analyze what's going on and think about, sort of the content that we're learning and how you can integrate that information in a way that would help you to be a better professional counselor in the future. The last thing I want to say, well, two more things I want to say. Your class this week in the announcements is full of resources, including the Genderbread Person. One of your TED Talks talks about that, because we're going to be learning about sort of, gender identity and expression, and it's important to recognize and realize, what this means today and what this means for many people. The last thing I want to say in terms of just the importance of understanding who we are and our biases, when I was in my master's program was also when Hurricane Katrina happened. And Hurricane Katrina, at that time in history, 13 years ago, was very scary time. And it exposed a great deal, I think, about sort of socioeconomic statuses and racial differences, etc. And so in my helping skills class, we were listening to an NPR interview. And I've never been to New Orleans, but apparently in this interview, you had people from the lower Ninth Ward who were trying to evacuate where they were, or they were in some neighborhood. I don't want to say lower Ninth Ward and be incorrect. All I do know is that they were in a neighborhood that was flooding. And apparently there's a bridge. I think that is sort of slanted or it elevates. And so the bridge goes from that neighborhood to a more affluent neighborhood. And so the individuals were on the bridge to evacuate areas that were flooding, and they were met on the bridge by the sheriff. The sheriff who had a gun and told the people to turn around and go back to where they came from. And so in my classroom, we were all appalled, we were all upset, everyone was up in arms, and my professor asks us, she says, now, do you think you could counsel any one of those people? And we were all, without hesitation, saying, yes, we can work with these individuals, these people are hurting, they need resources, they need help, etc. Then my instructor, my professor says, now, could you work with the sheriff? Can the sheriff be your client? And you could have heard a pin drop in the classroom. And that is the importance of this class. I think when we think about working with individuals, we always think about people that, we can empathize with, or you might have a little bit of sympathy for. But what if the individual that is sitting across from you has done something or does things or embodies things that really don't sit well with you or rub up against some of your values? And as you probably should know from your code of ethics, we just can't refer a client because their values are different from ours. And so these are some of the challenges I want you to sit with and encourage you to think about as you go through the course and really read and integrate the content. So yes, that is your work for this week. One last thing I want to say is about your journals. When you write your journals, I look at APA, but I'm not grading for APA, but when you do your case analyses, because these are more formal assignments, I am really looking at APA and trying to give you good feedback on that, because especially next term, when you are in research, your APA citation is going to be extremely necessary to have correct. So let me know if you have any questions about this announcement, and have a great week. Thanks.